Most people don't fail because they're unlucky. They fail because they never trained the one thing that controls it all, the mind. So if you've been blaming luck, timing, or circumstances, stop. That's the lie they sold you, and today, we're burning it down. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe if you're ready to become a magnet for abundance, because this, my friends, is where everything changes. Hey folks, imagine your mind is like a radio tower. If it's tuned to scarcity, you broadcast fear. But tune it to abundance, suddenly wealth hears you loud and clear. It's not magic, it's mental frequency. Most are walking around like foggy compasses, reacting, drifting, but not you, not anymore. You're here to rewire your reality. Stay with me, because from this moment forward, you're rewriting the code. Say it loud, drop it in the comments. I am wealth. Number 1, the lie they sold you about wealth. If you believe you are right, you have no need to convince others. If you are truly wealthy in mind, the world will catch up. Napoleon Hill. Let's break something wide open today, my friends. The idea that wealth is for the lucky is pure fiction. It's one of the oldest lies society has ever whispered into your ear. He's just lucky. She was born into it. They had connections. And so we walk through life believing the gate to abundance is guarded by others, when in truth, the gate has been sitting inside your own mind this whole time. Imagine you were handed a treasure map at birth, but instead of the X marking gold, it was scribbled over with phrases like, "That's not for people like us," or "Money is evil," or "Stay humble, don't want too much." So here you are, map in hand, but blindfolded by beliefs that were never even yours to begin with. And worse, most people never even question the map. They just walk in circles. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why do I feel guilt just thinking about getting rich? Why do I shrink when someone talks about big dreams? Why do I think wealth is for them and not me? These are not your natural thoughts. These are hand-me-down mental viruses passed from generation to generation, dressed up as humility, but soaked in fear. Let's call it what it is, mental slavery. That's right. Not the kind you can see with chains, but the kind that sits quietly behind your eyes, whispering, "Be realistic," every time your soul dares to dream. Now here's a truth most won't tell you, because if everyone knew it, the system would collapse. Wealth does not come to the smartest. It does not come to the most talented. It comes to those who dare to believe it's already theirs. That's the real revolution. The shift isn't in your bank account. It's in your brain. Because when you truly train your mind to believe, act, and think like someone who owns the outcome begins to chase you. But let's be real, it won't feel natural at first. You're rewiring decades of fear, failure, and limitation. It's like trying to steer a ship that's been drifting for years with the current. The second you grab the wheel, the storm hits, doubt screams, old habits rise, friends roll their eyes, your own voice will try to betray you. And in that moment, most people let go. They release the wheel and say, "See, I knew it wasn't for me." But not you, not this time. You're grabbing that wheel and turning it with conviction because now you understand the game. It was never about luck. It was about mental authority. And the person with authority over their mind, that person becomes magnetic to opportunities others can't even see. Listen to me. Your environment has been training you to stay small. Every time you said, "I can't afford that," every time someone told you to be realistic, every time you saw someone win and secretly felt bitterness instead of inspiration, you were being programmed. Not by your choice, but by default. But now you're here. And you're seeing the wires for what they are. And you're about to pull the whole system down and replace it with something stronger, something clearer, something that actually serves your vision. You are not your past. You are not your upbringing. You are not your failures. You are the one writing the code from this moment forward. And guess what? You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to build something big. You're allowed to rise. Because wealth, true wealth, isn't just about money. It's about freedom. Freedom to move how you want, create what you want, give how you want. And that kind of freedom doesn't start in a vault. It starts in your voice. The voice that says, "I deserve more," not because I'm entitled, but because I'm ready to serve at a higher level. So let me ask you this. Are you still believing the lie? Are you still giving power to that inner script that tells you abundance isn't meant for you? Or are you ready to destroy that narrative and replace it with something unshakable? Because this is your turning point. This is your permission slip, not from the world, but from yourself, right here, right now. In this moment, you get to become the person who says, I will not be defined by scarcity. I will not inherit their limitations. I choose abundance. I choose wealth. I choose to train my mind and command my future. Say it with me. Type it in the comments and show the world you're stepping out of the lie. I am rewriting my mind. Number 2, thoughts are things. So what are you thinking? Whatever you hold in your mind on a consistent basis is exactly what you will experience in your life. Let's go deeper, my friends. You see, most people walk through life thinking thoughts are just random clouds floating by, harmless, passing, forgettable. But here's the truth they never told you in school, never whispered at your job, never dared to preach at the dinner table. Your thoughts are things. Real, tangible, measurable. They are the architects of your reality. They are the ink with which you write the blueprint of your future. Imagine your mind as a 3D printer. Whatever thought you upload into it with repetition and emotion, it starts printing. It doesn't care if the blueprint is broken. It doesn't care if the design is flawed. It just prints what you feed it. So if you've been wondering why your life feels like a cycle of the same problems, same paycheck, same stress on repeat, it's because your mind has been printing the same file every day. Here's the wild part. Most people don't even know they're doing it. They wake up, and before they've even brushed their teeth, their mind is already replaying a tired, negative loop. I'm tired. I'm broke. This always happens to me. They rehearse scarcity, they rehearse defeat, they feed the software of lack, and then look confused when life delivers exactly that. Let me ask you something raw and real. What is your dominant thought? The one that's been playing like a background soundtrack in your mind. Is it, I can create something massive? Or is it, I'll never get ahead? Is it, I'm a builder? Or is it, I'm stuck? Because whether you admit it or not, your mind is loyal to that thought. It's working day and night to turn that belief into your reality. That's the brutal part and the beautiful part, because once you become aware of this, everything changes. You stop thinking by default. You start thinking by design. And that's when you go from drifting to building. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who believed he could light up the entire world. People laughed at him. They called him crazy, said it was impossible. That man was Thomas Edison. 10,000 failures. But he kept going, not because of motivation, not because of luck, but because he had uploaded a thought so clearly into his mind that reality had no choice but to surrender. He saw the light before it ever existed. And that is the power of thought, when it's held with belief, discipline, and purpose. But here's the trap. The mind doesn't just respond to what you say once, it responds to what you say repeatedly, what you emotionally reinforce. That's why doubt is so dangerous. Every time you say, I can't, even as a joke, even with a laugh, your subconscious takes notes. It does not know sarcasm, it only knows command. And every command creates wiring. You are literally building mental highways that become habits of thought, and habits of thought become patterns of life. The mind is like a garden, and every thought is a seed. Now picture this. If you plant weeds every single morning by saying things like, nothing works for me, it's too hard, people like me never win, and then you water those weeds with emotion, with repetition, with action, you've just cultivated a field of failure. And the wildest part? You did it to yourself. But what if you flipped the script? What if you planted seeds of power instead? Thoughts like, I am rising, wealth is already moving toward me, every day I'm becoming more focused, more dangerous, more precise. What if you repeated those until they didn't just sound like affirmations, they became truth? Because thoughts aren't just whispers in your mind, they are instructions to your life. If your inner voice is filled with limitation, guess what your actions will reflect? Limitation. If your inner dialogue is filled with expansion, your behavior will stretch to match it. Napoleon Hill said, all the breaks you need in life wait within your imagination. Imagination is the workshop of your mind, capable of turning mind energy into accomplishment and wealth. So here's a question that might sting a little. What exactly are you building in your workshop? Is it a skyscraper or a cage? This is why you must take your mental diet seriously. You protect your phone with a passcode. You protect your house with a lock. But most people leave their mind wide open, unguarded, letting in every doubt, every fear, every piece of mental junk from the news, from negative people, from childhood trauma that was never even theirs to carry. You have to become ruthless with your thoughts, not casually interested, but committed. Because once you command your thoughts, you begin to command your life. That is not philosophy, that is law. And it's the same law the wealthy, the powerful, the focused live by. They don't think small, they don't talk themselves out of greatness, they don't dwell on what they lack. They saturate their mind with clarity, with purpose, with thoughts so big, they shake the walls of their own limitations. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to let the same tired thoughts keep running the show? Or are you going to take back the controls and reprogram the system? Because this is the real work. Not the flashy quotes, not the temporary motivation, but the daily mental discipline. The choice to direct your thoughts, not drift with them. The decision to think like a creator, not a consumer. The commitment to hold powerful thoughts long enough that your reality has no choice but to rise and match them. Now take a breath. Let that sink in. And if this hit your spirit, if it cracked something open inside you, then do this right now. Go to the comments and write it down like you mean it. My thoughts are building my future. Write it for you. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not just hearing these words, you're living them. Stay with me, because what's coming next will show you how to turn that thought into focus, and that focus into fortune. Number 3, faith is the currency of the invisible. Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Napoleon Hill, and let me say this loud and clear, my friends, if you don't believe in what you're building, you're already losing. You could have the most brilliant plan, the clearest vision, all the tools laid out in front of you, but without faith, it all crumbles like a house of cards in a storm. That's the missing piece most people never understand. They think building wealth is about the grind, the hustle, the connections. And yes, those things matter, but beneath them all, like the foundation of a skyscraper you never see, is faith, quiet, invisible, but unshakably strong. Now, don't confuse this with blind hope. Faith isn't sitting around wishing for a miracle while doing nothing. No, faith is fire in motion. It's waking up with no physical evidence and still showing up like the proof is already written. It's shaking hands with your future before it exists in your bank account. It's acting with the certainty of a man who's already signed the deal before the world even knows your name. Let me give you a picture. Imagine planting a seed deep in the soil. You water it every day. You don't see anything above ground for weeks. Friends walk by and laugh. You sure something's even growing? And you say nothing, not because you don't have doubts, but because your faith speaks louder than their sarcasm. You see what they can't, that's faith. You believe in the unseen roots while others only trust the fruit. But here's where most break. They start off strong, motivated, hyped. Day 1, they're all in. Day 2, still pushing. Day 10, silence. Still no results. Doubt creeps in, and then they stop. They walk away right before the sprout pushes through the soil, and they call it failure. No, my friend, that's not failure. That's unfinished faith. Faith is the currency of the invisible. It buys you time when logic says quit. It pays for progress in a season of silence, and it deposits results in the world after you've already invested everything into belief. But I get it. It's not easy, especially when life keeps swinging, when the bills stack up, when the people closest to you don't believe in your vision, when every step forward feels like you're walking through quicksand. That's where faith gets tested. That's where the world separates the daydreamers from the warriors. Let me hit you with something real. Most people have more faith in their fear than in their future. They trust failure more than success. They rehearse everything that could go wrong until their body responds with anxiety before anything even happens. That's negative faith. And guess what? It works too. It manifests exactly what you feared. So what if you flipped it? What if you trained your mind to believe not in doom, but in destiny? What if your first instinct wasn't what if I fail, but what if this is the moment everything shifts? What if you replaced every I don't know how with I'll figure it out? Because that's how giants think. That's how builders rise. And listen, faith is not built in crowds. It's built in solitude, in the dark, when no one's clapping, no one's validating, just you, your vision, and the echo of your own heartbeat. That's where confidence is born. Not the fake kind that posts on social media, but the kind that doesn't flinch when the world gets quiet. Edison had faith when people called him insane. Hill had faith when the world said dreams don't pay bills. Ford had faith when engineers said the V8 engine was impossible. Faith isn't about having proof. It's about becoming the proof. Now here's the part most ignore. Faith must be fed daily, consistently. Like a fire, it dies without fuel. That fuel, it's your words, your focus, your environment. If your inner dialogue sounds like doubt, if your circle is full of small thinkers, if your focus is scattered across distractions, you're starving your faith and feeding your fear. You've got to protect your belief like it's sacred, because it is. So how do you feed it? Speak what you see before it shows. Visualize it so vividly that your brain starts wiring your body to act like it's already real. Repeat your vision until your subconscious believes it. Write it. Read it. Meditate on it. And when the world throws silence your way, stand taller. That silence is just the universe rearranging to catch up with the picture in your mind. This is where your power lives, right here, in the invisible. And this is the secret they'll never teach in schools. The world doesn't reward the one who needs proof. It rewards the one who walks like the proof. So I ask you, are you waiting for the world to validate your dream, or are you already walking like it's done? Are you asking for permission, or are you giving yourself the green light? Because that decision, that inner posture, changes everything. Wealth doesn't come to those who wish. It comes to those who know, who show up again and again, not because they feel like it, but because they've already seen the outcome in their mind and refuse to stop until reality agrees. If this message woke something up in you, let it stay awake. Let it roar. Let it push you forward when everything else tells you to settle. Because faith is not soft. Faith is not weak. Faith is fire in silence. So here's what I want you to write in the comments, not for me, but for you. Let it be your declaration to the world. I believe before it shows. Say it, feel it, show it. Because you're not just learning, you're becoming. And stay with me. Because next, we're not just holding belief. We're shaping purpose so sharp, so clear, it cuts through every distraction. Number 4, the power of definite purpose. There is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to possess it. Napoleon Hill. Let me tell you straight, my friends, most people aren't broke because they lack potential. They're broke because they lack direction. They're not stuck because the world is against them. They're stuck because they wake up with no clear idea of what they're actually building. They drift, they react, they hope. And hope without a target is just emotional caffeine. It feels good for a moment, but it doesn't build anything that lasts. Let's get real. You wouldn't get in your car, press the gas, and drive with no destination, right? But that's exactly what most people do with their lives. They wake up, they move, they hustle, but ask them what exactly they're working toward? Crickets. I just want to be successful. That's noise. That's fog. That's not a vision. It's a vague wish wrapped in emotional laziness. Definite purpose is the difference between motion and progress. It's the line between a drifter and a dominator, between someone who chases distractions and someone who builds empires. When you have it, when your vision is laser sharp, you stop wasting energy. You stop entertaining nonsense. You stop giving time to things that don't push your mission forward. Imagine a magnifying glass under the sun. If you keep moving it around, the light spreads wide, warm, soft, ineffective. But hold it still, focus it, that same light ignites fire. That's what definite purpose does to your energy. It sets it on fire. It gives your actions heat, your thoughts direction, your decisions power. Here's what they don't tell you. Vague goals attract vague results. Unclear desires create unclear outcomes. The universe does not reward the confused, it rewards the precise. So don't say, I want to be rich. That's static, that's empty. Say, I will build a real estate business that generates $50,000 a month by serving working class families. That's clarity. That's a command. That's a mental GPS locked on a destination. And it's not just about what you want, it's about how deep you want it. Napoleon Hill didn't say, kinda want. He said burning desire. That means it's not optional. It's not a hobby. It's not something you do if the mood strikes. It's something that keeps you up at night and gets you out of bed when the alarm clock fails. Something that burns so vividly in your soul that the world either aligns with it or gets out of the way. But let's be honest, it's not always easy to find. We've been so conditioned to follow the script that we forgot how to write our own. Go to school, get a job, save a little, retire someday. That's not a purpose. That's a treadmill disguised as a path. You don't need another to-do list. You need a mission that grabs you by the spine and says, let's go build something legendary. So how do you find it? You stop looking outward and start listening inward. You ask the real questions. What lights me up? What pain am I here to solve? What can I create that outlives me? What would I do if money was no object, but excellence was required? Sit with those questions. Don't rush. Let your own voice rise through the noise of the world, and once you hear it, once even a whisper of clarity reaches your soul, hold on to it like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. Without purpose, your mind wanders. Without purpose, your habits weaken. Without purpose, you chase everything and catch nothing. And here's the kicker. The moment you define your purpose with clarity, the resistance will show up. Doubt, distraction, delay, people telling you it's too much, that you've changed, that you're obsessed. And you know what? Good. That's your sign you're on the right track. Purpose that doesn't stir up resistance is probably too small. So don't play it safe. Don't water down your vision to make others comfortable. They weren't given your fire. That's yours. That's sacred. That's the compass. And your job is not to apologize for it. It's to follow it, even when no one claps, even when it's hard, especially then, because once you have definite purpose, decisions become easier. Should I go out tonight? No, I've got work. Should I invest in this? Does it align with the mission? Should I quit? Not even on the table. Purpose creates filters. Purpose creates fire. Purpose creates freedom. You know why some people never reach greatness? Not because they lack the resources, but because they never chose a clear why. And so their energy leaks. Their focus drips out of 1,000 cracks. But you're sealing the cracks today. You're choosing to think like a builder, act like a visionary, move like someone who knows exactly where they're going. So I'm going to ask you to do something powerful right now. Not later, not someday, now. Write your purpose. Not a slogan, not a dream board phrase, a clear, measurable, fire-lit mission. What are you building? Who are you becoming? Why does it matter? Then speak it out loud, print it, post it, tattoo it on your days so that every morning you rise with direction, not confusion. Because from this point forward, we don't drift. We design, we don't wait, we build, we don't beg, we command. And if this message lit something in you, if your heart's pounding, if your thoughts are racing, if your fingers are itching to move, write this in the comments so the world knows you're locked in. My purpose is power. You've got the vision. Stay with me. Because next, we sharpen it into belief so deep, the world won't have a choice but to make room for what you're becoming. Number 5, the subconscious obeys emotion and repetition. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. Let's pull the curtain back on something most people never even realize, my friends. If your mind was a kingdom, your subconscious would be the hidden throne room where all real decisions are made. It doesn't care what you say you want. It only responds to what you believe, what you repeat, and what you feel. That's the dangerous truth. It's not your words that shape your life. It's the emotional intensity behind them. Repeat it over and over again until your subconscious rewrites your reality like it was always meant to be that way. Here's what they don't teach you in school or show you on social media. The subconscious is loyal, not to your dreams, not to your wishes, but to your most dominant, emotionally charged thoughts. Think of it like a computer, but way more powerful, running silently in the background, absorbing everything. Your actions? Just the output. But the code? That's written in your subconscious, line by line, belief by belief, moment by moment. Now imagine this. Every time you say, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up, or I'm broke, you're not just venting, you're programming, you're hitting save. And the subconscious? It hears that command and replies, got it, let's create more of that. You see how dangerous that is? You're training your mind to become a machine that manufactures the very struggle you're trying to escape. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine your subconscious as a field rich, fertile soil. You can plant anything in it, roses or poison, gold or garbage. And whatever you plant, it will grow because the soil doesn't discriminate. It just obeys. If you constantly feed it fear, doubt, scarcity, what do you think you'll harvest? More of the same. That's not superstition. That's neuroscience. That's psychology. That's reality. But here's where it gets even more real. Repetition is the farmer. Emotion is the water. Every thought you repeat with feeling digs deeper roots. One thought once, that's a raindrop. But the same thought felt deeply repeated daily, that's a storm, and storms change landscapes. You ever wonder why affirmations work for some people and not others? Because most are just mumbling empty words without belief, without emotion, without consistency. That's like trying to bench press once and expecting a six-pack. Doesn't work. You want your subconscious to obey? You need repetition with emotion, daily, obsessively, relentlessly. Say it until your brain starts believing it. Feel it until your body starts behaving like it. Repeat it until the world starts reacting to it. Because your subconscious mind is always listening, and not just to your words, but to your tone, your habits, your posture, your expectations. You say, I want to be wealthy, but walk around with a defeated energy. Guess what your subconscious hears? We're not ready. You daydream about success, but spend your evenings scrolling, complaining, doubting. Your subconscious goes, I see, let's stay small. And then you wonder why nothing changes. It's not magic, it's math. Repetition plus emotion equals programming. Programming equals behavior. Behavior equals results. So the question becomes, what are you rehearsing? Because your reality is just a mirror of your most practiced internal script. Napoleon Hill said, any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. That means you can literally overwrite years of fear with 30 days of focused belief. You can break generational curses by changing the mental script you play on loop, but most won't do it. Why? Because it's invisible work, and people crave results more than they crave rewiring. They want change, but they don't want to change. But not you. You're here because you're ready to stop living by default and start living by design. You're ready to use the power that's been in your hands, your mind, all along. And the good news? You don't need permission. You don't need credentials. You need repetition. You need emotion. You need vision. So here's how you start. You wake up, and before the world fills your head with noise, you fill it with truth. You look in the mirror and you speak it. Not as a joke, not as a maybe, as a command. I am focused. I am powerful. I am building wealth. I am aligned with abundance. I do not negotiate with my fears. You don't just say it, you feel it, see it, hear it echoing through your thoughts like thunder. You build that repetition until it becomes your new normal. And when doubt shows up, and it will, you override it like a pro. You don't fight it. You reprogram it, replace it, drown it in a flood of empowered thought so loud, so consistent, that the old voices fade into background static. This isn't about toxic positivity. This is about mental warfare. You're either training your mind or your mind is training you. There's no neutral. Every day you repeat power or you repeat fear. Every moment you're either building the future or recycling the past. So choose wisely. Because your subconscious isn't judging, it's just executing. What are you feeding it? What are you allowing in? What are you planting? Because I promise you this, the subconscious always cashes the checks your mind writes. So stop writing not enough. Stop signing off on almost. Stop programming maybe. Start planting I am. Start speaking I will. Start becoming I already am. And if this unlocked something in you, don't keep it silent. Let the world know your mental code is changing. Write it in the comments right now. I'm reprogramming my mind. Say it, show it, live it. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about specialized knowledge, how to turn your focus from scattered to surgical, from generalist to genius, from noise to legacy. Number 6, specialized knowledge versus scattered hustle. General knowledge, no matter how vast in quantity, is of little use in the accumulation of money. The faculties of the great must be directed by specialized knowledge. Napoleon Hill. Let's clear something up right now, my friends. The world doesn't reward people who know a little bit about everything. It rewards those who go deep, deep in skill, deep in understanding, deep in value. Most people think hustle is the answer, that if they just move faster, do more, work longer, they'll win. But here's the truth. You can be the hardest working person in the room and still go in circles if your energy is scattered. It's like trying to dig a well. You dig a few feet in one spot, then stop. Move 10 feet to the left, dig a little more, then stop again. You keep moving, keep grinding, keep sweating, but you never hit water. Why? Because you never went deep enough. That's what most people's life looks like. Shallow hustle, busy energy, movement with no depth, motion with no meaning. They've got their hands in 5 different things, none of which they truly master. Jack of all trades, king of none. And then they wonder why wealth won't commit to them. Let me give you a hard truth. Wealth doesn't respond to dabblers. It responds to dominators. Specialized knowledge is what separates a dabbler from a disruptor. It's the reason one person can speak a single sentence and shift a room, while another talks for hours and changes nothing. It's the difference between noise and signal, between trying and transforming. You see, in a world full of surface-level content, TikTok knowledge, and Instagram expertise, the rarest commodity is depth. And guess what? The market pays a premium for the rare. Always has. Always will. So here's the question. What are you specializing in? What do you know so deeply, so thoroughly, that you could teach it, build with it, lead with it? What skill have you sharpened to a blade so fine it cuts through the noise of your competition like silk? Because this is what people miss. Your power is in your focus. Your impact is in your depth. Napoleon Hill didn't say, be busy. He said, align your desires with definiteness of purpose and fuel it with specialized knowledge. Let's take a real example. Think of a flashlight. It spreads its beam wide. Software dimensors can't do much damage. Now think of a laser. Same light, but focused, tight, concentrated. A laser can cut through steel, not because it's stronger, but because it's precise. That's what your life can become when you stop trying to be everything and start going all in on one thing, when you stop multitasking your purpose and start giving it your full force. Here's where most people fall off. They get bored. Depth feels slow. Mastery feels tedious. We live in a dopamine-driven world that rewards novelty. New thing, new project, new venture, new niche. But let me tell you something interesting. Masters are made in monotony. While the crowd runs toward the next trend, the wealthy are digging trenches, perfecting, honing, sharpening. They're not flashy. They're focused. They're not chasing hype. They're building legacy. You know what makes Warren Buffett dangerous? He doesn't invest in everything. He studies what he understands and doubles down. You know why Michael Jordan was lethal? Because he practiced the same shots for hours when nobody was watching. You know why Steve Jobs shifted the world? Because he obsessed over the intersection of design and technology until perfection wasn't optional. It was default. That's not talent, that's specialization. But let's talk about why most people don't go deep. You want to know the real reason? Fear? Fear of missing out. Fear of picking the wrong thing. Fear of not being good enough. So they stay surface level, because surface level feels safer, but it's also powerless. Shallow roots don't survive storms. So if you want to train your mind to attract wealth, here's what you need to understand. You can't master something you keep abandoning. You can't become world-class in something you treat like a side hobby. You can't build trust with the marketplace if you don't trust yourself to commit. You don't need 10 things. You need one direction, one craft, one focus, executed with ruthless consistency. You want wealth? Become undeniable in your field. Know more, practice longer, think deeper, become so good they can't ignore you, even if they want to. And that doesn't mean you stay stuck. Specialization isn't a prison, it's a launch pad. Once you master one thing, it opens doors to everything else. Mastery in one area gives you confidence and leverage to expand, to adapt, to multiply, but you've got to start somewhere. You've got to dig until you hit water. So I ask you, what skill will you go deep in? What subject will you make your playground? What space will you dominate so fully that your name becomes synonymous with excellence? Because that decision, that's where everything shifts. That's when your time starts to compound, your credibility starts to grow, your income starts to align, because now you're no longer scattering your power, you're channeling it. And when you channel it, when you lock in on it, when you give it daily attention, daily respect, daily energy, you stop chasing wealth. Wealth starts chasing you. So here's what I want you to write in the comments right now. Not a wish, not a maybe, a declaration. I am mastering my value. Say it like you mean it. Show them. Show yourself. Because the world is full of noise, but you're becoming the signal. Stay with me. Because next we'll break down the invisible force that shapes your life even more than your mindset. Your environment, the silent sculptor, the hidden influence, the atmosphere that either feeds your future or strangles it. Number 7, the decision to commit. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. There comes a moment in every journey where you either step forward with both feet or stay trapped in the loop of almost ready, almost focused, almost becoming who you're meant to be. Let's be real, my friends. Most people live and die in the land of almost. They think about success, they fantasize about change, they flirt with greatness, but they never commit. And without commitment, nothing moves. You've heard all the words, you've felt the fire, but none of it matters if you don't cross that invisible line between I want to and I will. The world doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to decision. Bold, ruthless, permanent decision. Not the kind you whisper, the kind you stamp on your soul like a brand. You know why you keep circling the same mountain? Because your decisions still come with back doors. You say, I'm all in, but leave the exit signs lit. You make promises in the morning and renegotiate with weakness by night. That's not commitment. That's convenience dressed up like ambition. Let me tell you something hard. The version of you that hesitates has to die. The one that waits for motivation, the one that checks in with fear before taking action, the one that dreams big but moves small. That version is a thief. It steals your potential and sells it for comfort. Kill it, bury it, rise. Because everything changes when your mind is made up, not half made up, not emotionally made up, spiritually decided, a decision backed by the full force of who you are. That's when doors open. That's when people feel the shift in your energy. That's when wealth, purpose, and power start aligning, not because of luck, but because your clarity demanded it. And yes, it will be hard. The path won't be smooth, but a trained mind doesn't need easy. It just needs the next step. You think Elon Musk waited for perfect timing? You think Oprah didn't doubt herself? You think Hill himself wasn't mocked for his beliefs? No, they simply made the decision and never let it expire. And that's what you've got to do now, not later, not after you figure it out. Now you decide that the old patterns stop here. You decide that your vision is not negotiable. You decide that excuses, distractions, delays, they don't get a seat at your table anymore. You stop being a spectator in your own story. You become the writer, the builder, the force. Because wealth isn't attracted to potential. It's attracted to certainty. It doesn't move toward those who hope. It moves toward those who decide. Those who walk like it's already done. Those who speak with the confidence of a king building his empire, not because the castle is built yet, but because the blueprint is unshakable. So I ask you, from the depth of your being, are you ready to decide? Not just listen, not just nod along, but actually commit. Cut the rope, burn the backup plan, step into the unknown with fire in your eyes and purpose in your chest. Because until you do, everything else is just noise. You already know what you need to do. You already have the vision. Now comes the part that separates you from the 97% who keep talking and the 3% who move. Decide. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. And if this hit you, if something clicked, don't keep it to yourself. Make it real. Write this in the comments below. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever wanted is the way you see yourself, not your talent, not your past, not your so-called flaws, just the image in your mind? That's it. Because here's the truth, my friends. You don't become the best first. You act like the best, and then the world responds. Before we dive deep, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because today we're flipping the whole script on what it means to be confident, to be powerful, and to win. This isn't about arrogance. This is about ownership. Now stay with me, because what's coming next could change how you walk, how you talk, and how you think forever. Hey folks, imagine this. A lion doesn't wake up every morning needing to remind itself it's a lion. It just gets up, stretches, walks into the savannah, and the whole jungle makes way. Not because it's loud, but because it knows what it is. It doesn't second guess. It doesn't shrink. It doesn't wait for validation from the other animals. It acts as if, and that's what makes it king. That's how you've got to start living. Because let's be real, most people have been brainwashed into believing that confidence is something you earn after you've proved yourself. That success comes after you've suffered enough. That you've got to be humble, wait your turn, or worse, hope someone notices you. But folks, that's the biggest lie society ever sold you. You weren't meant to wait. You weren't meant to beg for recognition. You were meant to show up and act like no one is better than you. Not because you think you're perfect, but because you're done pretending you're not enough. People will say, but what if I fail? Good. Fail boldly. Fail as the best. Because the difference between average and greatness is not about avoiding failure. It's about never letting failure change how you see yourself. You can fall and still believe you're unbeatable. That's the mindset of champions. And if you're still wondering, isn't this fake confidence? No, my friend, this is identity alignment. You're not pretending. You're remembering who you are before the world made you doubt it. Acting as if you're the best isn't ego. It's clarity. It's showing up to life like your future already belongs to you, because it does. The truth is, the world will treat you the way you treat yourself. Walk in like you don't belong, and you'll get ignored. Walk in like you own the place, and people start listening. Speak with belief, and people will believe in you. Speak with hesitation, and they'll hesitate to support you. That's not magic. That's psychology. So let me ask you, are you still waiting for someone to hand you permission, or are you finally ready to take it? Because nobody's coming to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, it's your time. It becomes your time the moment you say it is. Write this in the comments and speak it out loud with me right now. I am the best. Say it like you mean it. Say it until your subconscious starts acting like it's a fact. I am the best. I move like it. I win like it. Let the world catch up. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're serious about becoming unstoppable, and stay with me, because what comes next will blow your mind. Number 1, success begins in the mind, not the mirror. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. Let's break this wide open from the start. You don't need to look like the best to become the best. You just need to think like it. That's where greatness begins, in the shadows of the mind, in that private space where nobody's watching, but everything is being decided. That's the battlefield. That's the throne. And most people, they lose the war before they ever step foot in the arena. Not because they lack potential, but because they never claim the right to believe in it. Imagine this. 2 people walk into the same room. One has 1,000 achievements, but doubts themselves. The other has 0 accolades, but walks like they're unstoppable. Who do you notice first? Who do you trust more? Who do you remember? The answer is always the one who moves with certainty. Confidence is louder than a resume. Belief is more magnetic than proof. But here's the real danger, my friends. Most people walk around waiting for the world to confirm that they're worthy. They look in the mirror and wait for the right body, the right background, the perfect timing before they decide to believe in themselves. They say, when I finally get that job, when I look like this, when people start noticing me, then I'll start believing I'm good enough. That mindset is a trap, a never-ending cycle, because the mirror doesn't create belief, it reflects it. And if your mind is poisoned with doubt, your reflection will always look like a fraud. And let's be honest, how many times have you already felt like that? Like an imposter in your own life? Like you're showing up, but something inside still whispers, you're not the one? That voice, that doubt, it's not yours. It's inherited, passed down by people who never chase their own greatness. It was injected by a system that profits from your self-doubt. Schools, culture, media, they never taught you how to believe in yourself. They taught you how to conform, how to obey, how to sit still and wait your turn. But your turn is not something you wait for. It's something you take. They want you to believe that some people are born winners and some aren't. That success belongs to the gifted, the chosen, the lucky. But Napoleon Hill shattered that myth 100 years ago. He proved that success is not genetic, it's mental. It's built by those who train their minds to expect it, demand it, and act as if it's already theirs. So let me ask you this. What if you believed, truly believed, that no one is better than you? Not in a fake way, not in a loud, egotistical way, but deep down in your bones. What would change? How would you speak? How would you walk into rooms? How would you handle challenges? Because the moment you believe it's possible, it becomes probable. But yeah, it won't be easy. Doubt will fight you every step of the way. Your own brain will resist because it's used to playing small. Fear will try to pull you back into the familiar. That's why most people stay stuck, not because they're not capable, but because they never made the mental leap. Because acting like the best before you've got the results, that feels dangerous, risky, even fake. But let me tell you, the only thing fake is the belief that you need someone else's approval to feel powerful. You've got to rewire your mind to see yourself as the version of you that's already won. The version that doesn't flinch under pressure. The version that doesn't apologize for their ambition. That version of you is not far away. It's already inside you, screaming to be let out. And once you decide to act like you're the best, not someday, but now, your reality will shift to catch up. It always does. So here's your challenge. Look yourself in the mirror today and say this out loud. I am the best. No one is better than me. Not with arrogance, with certainty, with commitment, because the best don't need to prove it. They embody it, speak it, believe it, and then act like it every single day. Write it in the comments. Show the algorithm. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're done waiting to feel worthy. Say it now. I am the best. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're diving into one of the biggest lies you've ever believed and exposing why it's been holding you back from becoming unstoppable. Number 2, the lie of not good enough and why it's designed to control you. You have been brainwashed into believing that you are less than what you are. But you can wake up. Napoleon Hill, let's destroy one of the biggest lies you've ever been told, that you're not good enough, that you're missing something, that someone out there is better than you, smarter than you, more worthy than you, that success is for them, not you. And here's the brutal truth. That lie didn't come from you. It was installed in you, planted like a virus by a system designed to make you doubt yourself before you even had a chance to begin. Think about it, my friends. From the time you were a kid, you were graded, judged, compared. They lined you up in rows and told you who was gifted and who wasn't. They measured your worth by numbers and test scores and expectations that had nothing to do with who you really are. And if you didn't fit their mold, you were labeled average, difficult, unrealistic. And slowly but surely, you started believing it. You stopped raising your hand. You stopped dreaming loudly. You started shrinking. But the problem isn't you. It's the programming. You were raised in a world that profits from your insecurity, that feeds on your fear, that wants you to believe you need to buy something, fix something, improve something before you're finally enough. But here's the truth. You were never broken. You've just been buried under layers of lies. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine a diamond buried in dirt. Just because it's covered in mud, does that make it worthless? Does the dirt erase its value? Of course not. But if that diamond believes it's dirt, it'll stay buried forever. That's what's happening to millions of people every day. Powerful, brilliant souls walking around like they're nothing more than the opinions of people who never saw their potential to begin with. And here's where it gets really dark. That feeling of not good enough, it keeps you obedient. It keeps you playing small. It keeps you afraid to take risks, afraid to speak up, afraid to chase the life you actually want. Because if you believe you're not ready, not worthy, not equipped, you won't even try. And that's exactly what they want. A society of doubters, of people who stay silent, of minds that second-guess themselves into mediocrity. But you're waking up. You're starting to realize that the fear you feel isn't truth. It's programming. That voice in your head that says you can't, that's not you. That's every teacher who didn't believe in you, every critic who projected their fear onto you, every failure you mistook for a definition instead of a lesson. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. No one is better than you. No one is more worthy. No one is more deserving. Success does not belong to the chosen few. It belongs to the decided few, the ones who stop asking for permission and start acting like they've already earned it. And that's what you're doing now. Every time you rewrite that voice in your head, every time you walk taller, every time you choose action over hesitation, you're taking back your power. So let me ask you, how much longer are you going to let that lie live rent-free in your mind? How many more moments are you going to waste thinking you're not enough? Because the truth is, the moment you stop waiting to be ready is the moment you become unbeatable. Say this out loud right now with your full chest. I am enough. I've always been enough. And no one is better than me. Speak it until your mind stops flinching, until your body believes it, until the old program shuts off and the real you, the best you, starts running the show. Write it in the comments if you're serious. I am more than enough. Not next week. Not when you hit your goals. Right now. Show the world that you're done with the lie, done with waiting, done with playing small. Because next we're going to talk about what happens when you start walking into every room like you belong there. Because you do. Stay with me. It only gets stronger from here. Number 3. What happens? When you start acting like you belong everywhere. The way you walk speaks louder than the words you say. Confidence isn't shown, it's felt. Napoleon Hill. Let's make something clear. The moment you start acting like you belong everywhere, people feel it. It's not about being the loudest in the room, it's about being the most certain. It's about walking into any environment, whether it's a boardroom, a gym, a stage, or a storm, and moving like you already earned your spot. Not explaining yourself, not shrinking, not hoping to be accepted, just existing with certainty. Now I get it. Some of you hear that and think, but what if I don't actually belong there? That's the trap. That thought right there is what's keeping you stuck. The fear that someone's going to look at you and say, who do you think you are? And here's the answer. You're the one who stopped waiting for permission. That's who you are. Imagine this. You walk into a high-rise building, walk into the elevator, press the top floor, and step out with a posture so grounded, people assume you own the place. You don't need to speak. Your energy says it. That's the power of acting like you belong. It's not fake. It's internal alignment. Your body, your thoughts, your words, all congruent. The reason most people never experience this power is because they've been trained to play small, to constantly evaluate themselves based on imaginary approval ratings, to measure their worth based on other people's opinions. And the result? They walk into every room trying to fit in instead of trying to stand out. But the ones who win, the ones who change the game, don't worry about being liked. They worry about being true to who they already decided they are. You see, you've been conditioned to enter with your head slightly down, to speak with just enough volume to not draw attention, to dress how others expect, to act like you're grateful just to be included. But let's flip that. What if you walked into every space like it was lucky to have you? What if you spoke like your voice carried value? What if you entered like the invitation was never needed because your presence was the upgrade? That's not arrogance. That's ownership. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. You'll question yourself. You'll feel like you're faking it. But what you're actually doing is killing off the old version of yourself, the one that needed constant approval, the one that whispered, maybe I'm not ready. You're stepping into your true self, the one who doesn't hesitate, the one who doesn't apologize for their presence, the one who walks like they're already carrying results on their back, even if no one sees it yet. And here's the kicker. Once you begin to act like you belong, people treat you differently. They lean in, they listen closer, they second-guess their doubts about you, because energy is contagious. And the human brain is wired to follow those who lead themselves. That's how power works. Not through titles, not through money, but through inner certainty that radiates from the way you carry yourself. Think about it. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers just because you hesitated? Just because you didn't walk in like you belonged? How many rooms did you shrink in when you should have expanded? That's not happening anymore, because now you know it was never about their permission. It was always about your posture. So here's what I want you to do. For the next 24 hours, act as if you belong everywhere you go. Shoulders back, chin up. Speak with conviction. Make eye contact like a lion scanning the jungle. And most of all, don't shrink. Repeat this out loud and drop it in the comments. I belong everywhere I go. Let it be your armor. Let it be your new baseline. You're not an outsider hoping to be seen. You're a force that commands attention. And stay locked in, because in the next section, we're going deep into the most dangerous weapon you have and how to use it to rewire your reality from the inside out. What is it? Just 2 words that can change your whole life. I am. Number 4, the power of I am. Reprogramming your identity. The words I am are the 2 most powerful words in the universe, because whatever you place after them shapes your reality. Napoleon Hill. There's a quiet war happening every day, and it's not out there in the world. It's inside your own head. It's in the silent self-talk, the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is around. And if you're like most people, you've been using the most dangerous phrase in the world against yourself without even knowing it. I am not enough. I am just average. I am trying, but I'm not there yet. Sound familiar? Those 2 words, I am. They're not just statements, they're commands. They go straight past logic, straight past willpower, and drop into the deepest part of your mind, your identity. And once your identity locks in on something, it becomes your reality. That's not motivational fluff. That's how your brain actually works. You can't outperform the image you hold of yourself. You could be standing in the best room, with the best opportunity, surrounded by people ready to support you, and you'll still sabotage it if your inner voice is whispering, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I'm not the one. And here's where it gets deadly. We think we're being realistic by speaking negatively about ourselves. But there is nothing realistic about programming your subconscious to believe you're average. That's not truth. That's self-sabotage. That's mental betrayal. That's you handing over your power every time you look in the mirror and label yourself with doubt. But let me ask you this. What if you flipped it? What if every day before the world gets a chance to tell you who you are, you told yourself first, I am the best. I am unstoppable. I am already enough. I am walking success. That's not pretending. That's reprogramming. That's taking the steering wheel back from the fear, the guilt, the voices from your past, and finally driving your life in the direction you choose. Think of your subconscious mind like a garden. Every I am is a seed. If you plant garbage, seeds of weakness, of lack, of insecurity, don't be surprised when your life grows into something lifeless and brittle. But if you plant strength, belief, boldness, watch what blooms. Watch how your posture changes. Watch how your energy shifts. People will start to feel it. You'll start to feel it. But yeah, it won't feel natural at first. You've been running an old program for years, decades even. You've repeated, I can't, more times than you've repeated, I can. You've said, I'm not ready more than I'm made for this. So when you start saying, I am the best, your brain will panic a little. It'll push back. That's normal. That's not your truth resisting. That's your old self begging you to stay in the familiar. Don't listen. Keep going. Keep saying it, loud, clear, over and over, not once, not twice, daily, because repetition is the language of the subconscious. It doesn't respond to hype, it responds to habit. The more you affirm, the more you rewire. The more you rewire, the more you believe. And the moment belief locks in, behavior changes. And once that changes, your life is never the same. This is how champions are built, not by external applause, but by internal command. They speak their greatness into reality. They don't wait to feel it. They decide it, over and over, until the world has no choice but to see what they've already declared within. So here's your challenge, and it's non-negotiable. Every single morning, before you touch your phone, before you scroll through anything, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am the best. I am unstoppable. I am built for success. Say it until your reflection starts to believe you. Say it until your voice drowns out the doubt. Say it until it stops being a statement and becomes your identity. Now drop it in the comments right now. I am the best. Show your mind, show your future, show the algorithm. Speak it, write it, own it. Because what's coming next is going to take this even deeper. We're going to talk about how the energy you put out comes right back. And once you learn to master the signal you're sending to the world, everything starts shifting in your favor. Stay with me. This is just the beginning. Number 5, why the world reflects the energy you project. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. Napoleon Hill. You ever wonder why some people walk into a room and instantly command attention, while others, just as talented, just as smart, get ignored like background noise? It's not luck. It's not looks. It's not even skill. It's energy. It's the frequency you're putting out when you enter that room. And like it or not, the world doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you believe about yourself. That belief, it leaks from your body, your tone, your walk, your silence. You don't speak it. You transmit it. Here's the brutal truth, my friends. If you carry yourself like someone who doubts their worth, the world will reflect that doubt back to you. If you walk like you're not supposed to be there, the room will treat you like a stranger. But if you walk in like you own it, like your presence is value, then suddenly the energy shifts. People pay attention. Opportunities lean in. Why? Because confidence is contagious and uncertainty is repelling. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine you're a radio tower, constantly broadcasting a signal. Every thought you repeat, every belief you affirm becomes part of that broadcast. Now think, what's the frequency you're sending out into the world? Is it, I hope I'm good enough? Or is it, I am the best and I'm here to lead? Because whatever that frequency is, life will echo it right back to you. Energy is a mirror. You project doubt, you attract obstacles, you project certainty, and doors open. But here's what most people don't realize. Your energy isn't just about hype. It's about alignment. You can wear confidence on the outside, but if you're battling insecurity on the inside, people will feel the disconnect. They won't trust it. You can say all the right things, but if your body language whispers fear, your message is lost. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. So how do you shift that? You stop trying to fake it, and you start becoming it. You act as if not to trick the world, but to train yourself. You carry yourself as the best not because you have the results, but because you've made the decision that your future will match your posture, not the other way around. You've got to understand, most of the world is asleep, walking around like extras in someone else's movie. No direction, no identity, just reacting to whatever shows up. But not you. You're becoming intentional. You're waking up to the fact that you're not just some player in the background. You're the writer, the director, and the main character all in one. And when you move like that, when you speak from that place, the world pays attention. Why? Because most people have never seen it done. And yes, it'll be uncomfortable at first. Your energy might feel too loud. Your confidence might offend people who are used to your silence. You'll walk into some rooms and feel like you're too much. Good. That's how you know you're growing. Because when your presence starts shaking the comfort zones of others, you're finally stepping into your power. And here's the twist. They'll adjust or they'll leave. Either way, you win. You need to start seeing yourself like gravity, unignorable, magnetic. You don't need to force people to respect you. You need to project the energy of someone who already respects themselves. You don't need to chase opportunities. You need to carry yourself like an opportunity. That's what happens when you act as if you're the best. You stop chasing and start attracting. But let's bring it back to the core. What are you broadcasting right now? Because every moment you doubt yourself, you broadcast hesitation. And every moment you affirm your worth, you broadcast certainty. And I promise you, life responds faster to certainty than it ever will to potential. So, here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, become hyper-aware of your energy. Walk like the room is lucky to have you. Speak like your voice matters. Move like the world is watching, because it is. People may not say it, but they feel you. Let them feel something real, something powerful, something unstoppable. And say it with me. Drop it in the comments right now. I project power. I attract results. Let that be your daily frequency. Let that be your default setting. Not next month, not when you feel ready. Now, because coming up next, we're about to unlock one of the boldest truths you've never been told. You don't earn self-worth, you claim it. Stay close. The shift just went deeper. Number 6, self-worth is not earned, it's claimed. The man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. But the man who waits to feel worthy before acting will wait forever. Napoleon Hill. Here's a truth that hits like a punch to the gut. You've been taught to earn your self-worth like it's a paycheck, like it has to be justified, like you're not allowed to feel valuable until the world validates you. So you work harder, you prove more, you chase applause, you chase status, you chase everything except your own damn self-belief. But let's destroy that lie right now. Self-worth isn't earned, it's claimed. You weren't born waiting for approval. You didn't come into this world doubting your value. That was installed later. By people, by systems, by a society that thrives on your insecurity. They want you to need their validation, because if you doubt yourself, you'll buy more, work more, stay quiet, stay in line. But when you start walking like someone who doesn't need permission, now you're dangerous, now you're powerful, now you're free. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, once I achieve this, then I'll feel confident. Once I hit that goal, then I'll know I'm enough. You keep putting your self-worth on layaway, like it's some reward waiting at the finish line. But the truth is, you'll never feel like enough if you keep believing that enough is something you achieve, instead of something you decide. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine a crown sitting on a table. It's not labeled, it's not claimed, and hundreds of people walk past it every day, too afraid to pick it up, waiting for someone to say, you deserve that. Waiting for qualifications, waiting for permission. Then one day someone walks in, doesn't ask questions, doesn't hesitate, just picks it up and wears it. And from that moment forward, they're seen as royalty. Not because of the crown, but because they believed they were worthy to wear it. That crown, it's been sitting in front of you your whole life. And here's where most people get stuck. They confuse humility with shrinking. They think confidence has to be earned through blood, sweat, and suffering. But let's get something straight. Humility isn't denying your greatness. It's not needing to shout it. Confidence doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're done negotiating with self-doubt. It means you've decided to be enough, with or without the world's agreement. Now, don't get me wrong. Work ethic matters. Mastery matters. But not because they give you worth, because they reveal the worth you've already claimed. The best of the best. Those who move like legends, they don't wait to feel worthy before they act. They act, and through that action, they affirm what they already decided to believe. You see, the moment you claim your worth, your standards change. You don't chase toxic people. You don't settle for crumbs. You don't tolerate disrespect. Why? Because when you know what you bring to the table, you stop begging for a seat. You build your own damn table. But here's the challenge. Most people are scared to claim it, because claiming your worth means standing alone before the world believes in you. It means being seen as too confident, too bold, too much. And that scares them. But listen to me. You will never be too much for the people who are meant for you. And you'll never intimidate the right room when you walk in like you belong. So here's the move. From this moment forward, stop outsourcing your value. You don't need to earn your worth through a title, a relationship, a bank account, or someone else's approval. You are enough because you decided to be. That's the beginning of all power. That's when life starts to bend around your belief instead of your doubt. Stand tall today and speak this into your future. Write it in the comments and burn it into your mind. I don't earn my worth. I claim it. Say it with your chest. Say it with your spine straight. Say it until your subconscious starts aligning every decision, every step, every room you enter with that energy. Because what's coming next is for those who refuse to play small anymore. We're going to uncover why the best in the world aren't born lucky. They're built relentless. And it all starts with how they decide to show up when no one's watching. Stick with me. We're not done. We're just getting louder. Number 7, the best are not lucky. They are relentless. Success is not the result of making the right guess. It's the result of refusing to quit. Napoleon Hill. Let's make this perfectly clear right now. No one wakes up legendary. No one rolls out of bed with a crown on their head and the world applauding at their feet. The ones you look up to, the best in the world, they didn't get there because they were lucky. They got there because they were relentless, because they refused to stop, because they decided that being average was more painful than being tired, rejected, or underestimated. You see their highlights, you see the results, you see the glory, but you didn't see the nights they stayed up questioning if they were even on the right path. You didn't see the silence, the solitude, the sacrifice, and you definitely didn't see the people who laughed at them before the success arrived. The world only shows up when you've won, but the best? They were already moving like winners when no one was clapping. That's the difference. The best aren't born with it. They build it. They bleed for it. And more importantly, they keep going long after most people would have quit. They don't wait for motivation. They don't need hype. They don't care if anyone believes in them because they've trained themselves to believe without proof. And that's the core, my friends. That's the secret everyone's too scared to say out loud. The top is not for the most talented. It's for the most obsessed. The people who wake up every day with something to prove, not to others, but to themselves. The ones who don't need the world to believe in them because they already see the future clearly in their mind. The vision becomes real before the results ever do. So if you're still waiting for things to get easier, stop. They won't. If you're hoping success is going to fall into your lap just because you want it bad enough, it won't. Because success doesn't care about how much you want it. It responds to how much you're willing to endure for it. How many times you're willing to fail, how many late nights you're willing to suffer through, how many rooms you're willing to walk into feeling like the underdog and still act like the best. Because that's what the best do. They lose, but don't quit. They fall, but don't stay down. They get rejected, but they come back sharper. Every setback is just data. Every obstacle is just training. While others complain, the best adapt. While others stall, the best move. They don't seek comfort. They train inside the fire because they know the truth. Easy never made anyone great. And you're not here for easy. You're here to become undeniable. And that's going to take something the average will never understand. Relentless repetition. Not for a week, not for a month, but until the doors open, until the mind shifts, until the results show up. Until the world has no choice but to admit what you already knew. You want to know how to separate yourself from 99% of people. Be the one who doesn't need a cheerleader. Be the one who works when it's boring, shows up when it's hard, and stays committed when nothing seems to be working. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. You don't have to be the most gifted, but you must be the most committed. Because the truth is, the best are never the ones who had the perfect plan. They're the ones who kept swinging until the damn wall cracked. They're the ones who decided, I might not be the best today, but I'll act like it until I become it. And that changes everything.